Hello friends, welcome to Rajesh Data Engineering. In this video, I'm going to talk about interview questions across Delta Lake concepts. This is the third video in this series. In this series, we are discussing more about interview questions across different topics. And this video, we will focus more on Delta Lake. I was asked to reduce the video size, video duration to less than 20 minutes. So in this video, I'm going to focus more on the question side. I will give just a hint on the answer side. But if you don't understand the answer or you don't know the answer, put it in the comment box so that I can create separate video or I can answer in the comment box itself. Right. Coming to Delta Lake, the first question is, can you compare data lake, delta lake, and data warehouse? This is one of the common interview questions across Lakehouse. And in today's big data world, this is one of the unavoidable question in most of the interview scenarios. For this question, we have to talk about structured, semi-structured, and unstructured data format. Basically, data warehouse that is supporting only structured, and data lake and also delta lake, they are supporting semi-structured and unstructured. And delta lake, we are having one extra layer on top of the data lake which helps to perform ACID transaction. And also coming to data warehouse, that is validating the schema on write. But coming to data lake or delta lake, it's on the read side. And coming to execution failure, data warehouse, it won't allow any corrupted system, but coming to data lake, it will allow the system to be corrupted, to be in corrupted state. But coming to delta lake, again, it is not allowing the system to be in corrupted status. And coming to we can talk about ACID transaction as well. Data warehouse and delta lake both are supporting ACID transaction, but data lake is not supporting. These are the major points we need to cover for this question. And I have already posted one video about this one, the video number 51. In order to get more information, you can refer that video. And coming to the second question, what are transaction logs in Delta Lake? Again, I have created one video on this, video number 52. I talked about Delta Lake internal architecture. You can refer that video to understand what is transaction log and what how we can talk about for this particular question. For this particular question, we have to talk about DML operation. With the help of transaction logs only, Delta Lake can support ACID transaction. And this transaction logs, it's nothing but JSON log files. Within the JSON log files, it is maintaining the history of the data files. And for every 10 JSON files, it is creating one checkpoint Parquet files. So we can talk about that as well. And each JSON file that is maintaining metadata, which means it is maintaining the metadata of the data, which means how many columns we are having, what is the data type of that, what is the minimum value, what is the maximum value. Those informations are available within transaction logs. Moving on to the next question, how does Delta table support ACID transaction? For this question, ACID transaction, it stands for atomicity, consistency, isolation, and durability. These are the properties of ACID transaction. So Delta table, it is supporting ACID transaction with the help of transaction log and also schema enforcement, concurrent writes for isolated transactions, and also durability because it is using some external or internal storage for storing the data. So we need to talk about these properties. Right, moving on to the next question. What is the use of vacuum command? Vacuum command that is mainly used to clean up the data. I have already posted video number 65. You can refer to get more information. And vacuum command, whenever we have we are not using any particular data file for the latest delta snapshot, then it is inactive. So in order to clean up those inactive files, we can use vacuum command. By default, it is considering 7 days, which means 168 hours. And this value is configurable. And along with vacuum command, we are also getting some command called try run. So that is my next question. What is dry run in vacuum command? So try run, that is nothing but simulation of vacuum command. Because in vacuum command, basically we are going to clean up the data. We are going to remove the data from the system. So by mistake, if you are going to remove some sensitive information which is needed for our project, then it will be a problem. So in order to avoid that, just using try run command, we can check what are the files will be cleaned up as part of this vacuum operation. So that we can preview. Based on that preview, we can, in case we are okay to delete those files, then we can proceed with vacuum command. That is the use of try run command. So this is helping to avoid accidental delete. Right. Moving on to the next question. What is the use of optimize command? Again, I posted one video for this question, the video number 67. And optimize command in big data processing, especially in Databricks, whenever we are processing huge amount of data, it keeps on creating many smaller size data files. So when we keep on creating small sized data files, it is adding overhead to the processing engine because we have to maintain huge amount of metadata also. So in order to avoid that, we can perform data compaction with the help of optimize command. So optimize command basically combining smaller data files into a bigger file. The default size is 1 GB, but we can change this size as well. So optimize command, that is one of the performance optimization technique because it is reducing the input output network input output operation by combining the data into bigger or optimal size. Right. Moving on to the next command, how does C ordering improve the performance? So C ordering, that is nothing but co-locating the relevant data in the same data file. So Delta Lake, that is nothing but internally we are having Parquet files that is scattered around multiple nodes. Or multiple regions, multiple systems. So whenever we are co-locating the relevant data together, so and we are performing certain data analytics on top of that, it will be easy because we can avoid network input output operation. So C ordering, that is also one of the performance optimization technique. With the help of C ordering, we can prevent full table scan, which means it is going to maintain some index file. Based on the index file, we can avoid scanning all the files. So we can perform data skipping. With the help of data skipping, we can improve the performance. So that is C ordering. Moving on to the next question, can you compare optimize and auto optimize command? Coming to optimize, that is a manual operation, so that is more suitable for occasional data compaction, and auto optimize, that is more suitable for frequent data compaction. So optimize command, manually we have to execute, and default block size is 1 GB. But coming to auto optimize, while creating the delta table or even after creating the delta table, we can alter the table. So this auto optimize, that is one of the parameter for the table, so we don't need to manually execute that. So whenever we are enabling this for a particular table, automatically data would be resized. So these are the major difference. But coming to data size, as I told, optimize default block size is 1 GB. Coming to auto optimize, default block size is 128 megabyte. But within auto optimize also, we have some legacy mode. For that, the default block size would be 32 megabytes. These are the areas we need to cover for this question. Moving on to the next question, what is time travel and what is the use of that? Time travel is nothing but snapshot analytics, which means we want to analyze our data in the past date. Then we can, with the help of time travel, we can go back to the previous version, and we can perform the analytics. This is mainly suitable for debugging and troubleshooting. In case our system is messed up, the latest execution got messed up, then we can verify, we can do certain analytics in the past. Then based on that, we can perform data recovery, or we can take the necessary steps. That is the use of time travel. Moving on to the next one, how to restore the delta table to one of its previous version. For that we have to use restore command. People used to confuse time travel with restore command. Coming to restore, this is permanently restoring one of the previous version to the latest version. But coming to time travel, just we are going back in time and just we are doing the data analytics, but we are not restoring to latest version. So this is the major difference. Even some interviewer might ask the difference between restore and time travel. So in order to perform restore, we have to use restore command. So this is just restoring the delta table to one of the previous earlier state. And in order to restore, we can use either version number or we can use timestamp. Right. Moving on to the next question, what is the difference between managed and unmanaged table? Coming to managed, the data and also metadata both are managed within the Databricks or Spark environment. But coming to unmanaged table, only the metadata will be managed within the Spark or Databricks environment, but the actual data that will be residing in one of the external storage system. It could be S3 bucket, ADLS, or HDFS location. And whenever we are dropping the table, coming to unmanaged table, simply we can use drop command. It will clean up metadata plus data. But coming to unmanaged table, using drop command, we can remove only the metadata. But in order to delete the actual data, we have to use file system rm command. And whenever we are going with unmanaged table, we are getting better control. Why? Because Databricks or Spark, the internal file system that is not giving more flexibility or more control to the developers. But coming to unmanaged table, let's say we are using Azure Data Lake Storage. There are various data security methods. We can implement those security methods. That's the reason unmanaged table that is better in order to get more control. But again, depending on the use case, we can choose managed or unmanaged table. Right. Moving on to the next question. What is data skipping in Delta Lake? Data skipping is one of the concept or one of the internal property of the Delta engine, using which it is efficiently performing the data operations. So basically, whenever we are creating Delta Lake and we are performing various operations on Delta Lake, statistics is being collected. As I told earlier, we are having JSON log files. Within the JSON log file, all the metadata, statistics information is collected. So Delta engine, whenever we are performing certain operations or analysis, Delta engine will will consider those statistics. Based on the help of statistics, it is going to skip the data files which are not needed for the scanning. So it will skip, it will avoid scanning huge amount of the data, and it will just focus only the data files which we are interested in. So with the help of this feature, we can improve the performance because we are avoiding full table scan. So this is data skipping. So these are the points we need to cover for this question. Right. Moving on to the next question, what is Medallion architecture in Delta Lake? This is also one of the interesting question, and most of the Delta Lake or big data interviews, we can expect this question. Coming to Medallion architecture, basically we are dividing the layers into three parts. One is bronze, silver, and gold. And coming to bronze, in most of the projects, bronze we will keep it as data lake, because we are just receiving the data, raw data as it is. And coming to silver and gold, we will go with delta lake, which means we will build a delta layer on top of the data lake. And coming to raw layer or bronze layer, simply we are going to receive the raw data in the raw format, then we will keep it as it is. And coming to silver layer, basically we are performing the data cleansing and data confirmation operations, like in case we are having duplicate value or null value, or certain column we are expecting to be in certain format, maybe number or date. So those, that data confirmation activities we are performing. And once that is done, coming to cold layer, we are doing all the business transformations and business aggregations. And yeah, Medallion architecture, that is one of the design or architectural pattern that is majorly used in Lakehouse concepts. These are the concepts, these are the areas we need to cover in order to answer this question. I have posted a video, the video number 53, you can refer that. Right, moving on to the next question. What is schema evolution? And what is the difference between override schema and merge schema? Schema evaluation, it's one of the feature using which we can accept the schema changes over the time in Delta Lake. So coming to data warehouse, it is not possible to accept a different schema while writing the data. But this is one of the added feature available with the Delta Lake or Lakehouse, using which dynamically we can accept different schema. Right. Coming to overwrite, basically, we have to drop some existing column, or we have to rename a certain column. Then we can go with only overwrite schema, because merge schema, it will not support the drop or rename. A merge schema will accept only adding new columns. And coming to override schema, it is basically completely removing the existing schema and recreating the new schema as per the input data. So as a result, even if there is a data type change, we have to convert certain column from integer to string. Both are completely different family, integer and string. It is possible. But coming to merge schema, that we can perform only upcasting, which means from short integer to integer, or integer to big integer. Within the same data family, data type family, we can perform upcasting. So these are the major difference between override schema and merge schema. Right. Moving on to the next question. What is delta table instance and what is the use of that? I have already posted a video number 55. You can refer that for more information. And coming to delta lake instance, that is nothing but soft link to delta table. So For a delta table using SQL query, we can perform any operations easily like update, delete, select. But in case we have to perform any DML operations on the delta table using Pyspark programming language, then first of all we have to create delta table instance. So in order to create a delta table instance, either we can use table name or table path. Right, these are the points we need to cover for this question. Moving on to the next question, what is generated column in delta table? So generated column, that is nothing but one of the special type of column which is used to automatically generate value for a particular column. So basically we can supply certain function. Based on the function, it will automatically generate value for a column. So that is the use of generated columns. This is one of the feature given for delta lake. So whenever we are creating a table, delta table, we can create generated columns. Moving on to the next question, what is identity column in delta table? So identity column, that is one of the generated column, that is type of generated column. Basically, in our data, we have to create some unique ID for each record. Then we can go with identity column. Before this identity column, basically we have to go with monotonically increasing ID, or we have to combine row number or rank function. Some workaround we need to put in order to create some surrogate key. But with the help of identity column, it can be generated automatically. So identity column, it will be of type big integer type. It can accept positive and negative numbers. And for identity column, we can give start value and also step value, which means start value, let's say it's 100. Then we are giving step value 10, which means it will create unique values 100, 110, 120, 130, like that. Okay, these are the areas we need to cover for this question. Moving on to the next one, how to overwrite only selective records in delta table. So this is also one of the interesting question. We have a very big delta table, but we have to just replace the data only for particular portion. Then how we can selectively overwrite? So for that, there is a functionality called replace where. This is the key for this question. So basically we have to use this replace where. With the help of replace where, we can give some where condition, like where year equal to 2017. Then it is going to replace all the data files where it is having data of 2017. So in order to answer this question, we have to use the keyword replace where. And also there is one more concept, dynamic partition overwrite. So whenever data is read into the Spark memory, within that data is divided into logical partitions. So if there is any changes to one of the logical partition, then it will just overwrite. So with the help of replace where and also dynamic partition overwrite, with the help of these two functionalities, we can achieve overwriting selective records in delta table. Right. Moving on to the next question, how to review the history of a delta table. Again, this is one of the handy and very useful functionality while working in Delta Lake. I have already posted a video number 62. You can refer to get more information about that. So basically, in order to review the history of a delta table, we have to use history command. And basically this history command, it is going to give list of version numbers along with timestamp. So with the help of version number or timestamp, we can perform various operations such as time travel. So yeah, we need to talk about these things, history command and also version, timestamp and time travel. Right. Moving on to the next question, what is deletion vectors in Delta Lake? Again, this is one of the interesting question. In order to answer this question, first of all, we need to talk about Parquet file and its immutability nature. Parquet file, basically it is immutable, which means we cannot modify the existing Parquet file. In case we have to make some changes to existing Parquet file, then we have to overwrite, which means we have to completely recreate that Parquet file. So coming to Delta Lake, that is using Parquet file as internal file format. So whenever we are performing certain DML operations, let's say we are having millions of records in a Delta table, but we are going to delete only few records out of that. So those particular records are part of certain data files which is in GB, which is in few GB. So in order to remove only those few records, it has to overwrite, it has to recreate that entire Parquet file. So it is going to hit the performance. So in order to avoid that, what we can do is we can enable deletion vector. As a result, Whenever we have to delete few records from a big file, it is not going to actually overwrite or recreate the Parquet file. Instead of that, it is going to create a flag within that big file saying that these are the files deleted. So it is just marking the deleted records. As a result, it can improve the performance. So these are the information we need to provide for this question. Right, moving on to the next question. What is delta clone and what is the difference between shallow clone and a deep clone? Coming to delta clone, that is nothing but it's a copy of a snapshot of delta table. So a particular version of delta table can be taken as a snapshot that is majorly used for archival need and also backfilling. So this is delta clone. So basically we are taking a copy of a snapshot on a particular time. For example, I am creating a clone of today's data and also tomorrow's data. So it's going to create two different clones. So we are keep archival of past data. So that is delta clone. Coming to delta clone, there are two types. One is shallow clone, another one is deep clone. Coming to shallow clone, it is going to copy only the metadata, but it is not going to copy the actual data, but it will give just a soft link to the actual data. But coming to deep clone, it is going to copy the metadata and also the actual data. So these are the information we need to provide for this question. Right. Moving on to the next question. What is delta sharing? Delta sharing, that is one of the feature provided by Databricks Delta Lake. So with the help of this feature, we can share the data across organization. Within our company, we might have multiple organization. So we can share the data across different organization. So as a result, we don't need to copy the data. So we can have complete control because they are using some strong security protocols for this delta sharing feature. With the help of that, we can securely share the data across different organization. Right. Moving on to the next question, how to drop an unmanaged table. I think I have already answered this question in one of the previous question. It was a subset of that question, but some interviewer might ask this question explicitly, how to drop an unmanaged table. Coming to manage table, it is easy. Simply we can use a drop SQL command. Then it will clean up metadata plus actual data. But coming to unmanaged data, whenever we are going to use a drop command, it is going to remove only the unmanaged data, but not the actual data. In order to remove actual data, we have to use DB utility or file system command. The command is rm for remove. Right. Moving on to the next question. What is delta cache? Delta cache, that is one of the performance optimization technique. I have already posted one video number 78. You can refer that. So basically, delta cache, we can whenever we have to perform certain data analytics on a particular delta table multiple times, then we can go with delta cache, which means we can cache the delta table, and it's a lazy evaluation. Now, after performing the cache, whenever we are performing certain data analytics on top of the delta table, so it is going to pull the data files from the remote storage location, then it will keep it in local executor node. In the worker node, it is going to keep. As a result, whenever we are performing subsequent analytics, it will not pull the data from the remote server. Instead of that, it will serve from the local disk. So it is going to improve the performance. Right. Moving on to the next question. What is Bloom filter index? This is also one of the performance optimization technique used in Delta Lake. So basically, this is working in the concept of whenever we are performing certain data analytics, and the Delta engine has to scan the data files. So whenever it is scanning the data files, it is working in the concept of definitely no or maybe. One particular file, one data file, it is going to give information. Now the data that you are looking for, that is definitely not available in this file, or it might be. In case that result is going to be definitely no, then delta table can avoid scanning that particular file. In case it is going to tell data might be there, maybe, then in that case it is going to scan that file. So with the help of this Bloom filter, we can easily identify the list of data files where we don't have any relevant data for our query. So it is working in the concept of false positive probability. So for each data file, it is going to maintain one Bloom index file also. So with the help of Bloom index file, we can perform faster data retrieval. These are the concepts we need to cover for this question. And apart from these questions, we might have Apart from these questions, the interviewer might ask the questions related to SED type 1 and type 2 implementation. I have already posted video number 59 for SED type 1 and video number 61 for SED type 2. So for these are very common questions for Delta Lake. So for that, basically we have to talk about merge command that is available in SQL and also Pyspark. So with the help of SQL or Pyspark, we can implement SCD, slowly changing dimension, type 1 or type 2. So coming to this type 1, basically we are overwriting. We are not maintaining any history. We can consider update, delete, and insert, all the three operations. And coming to SCD type 2, same, we have to use merge statement. And in SCD type 2, we are maintaining history. So there would be active flag column would be mandatory. And in order to insert a new version of the records for existing records, we have to create duplicate records. I have already talked in detail in this particular video. In case you have to get more information, you can refer this video. Right, these are the different questions we can expect around Delta Lake concepts. I hope you understood. Hope you enjoyed this video. If you like the content of this video, please like, comment in the channel. Also subscribe this channel. Don't forget to click on the bell button to get latest videos on Databricks or Spark concepts. Thank you.